Welcome to the Catalyst of Development podcast, where our purpose is to help you find yours. And our vision, well, our vision is communicate your potential so clearly that you're inspired to see it in yourself. Today I'm excited, man. We are back at it with episode number 15. Episode number 15. This is the part 2 of the best advice ever that we received from you, right? So it was about a week ago. We posted the question to our Catalyst of Development page on Facebook, and we asked our followers, what is some of the best advice you ever received? And the response was so amazing that we wanted to sit down and gather all that advice so we can invest and be catalyst in all of our followers, right? Because keeping all this wonderful information that y'all gave, man, all these knowledge nuggets that y'all dropped, man, that would have been the absolute wrong thing to do. So we gathered everything up. We filmed part 1 actually just last night, right? We didn't want to wait. We're so excited about what the information y'all gave us, right? We were so excited. We wanted to sit down the very next day so we could finish this up and get this out to y'all. But with that, before we get rolling, man, I want to kick it over. I'm here today, as always, with my partner in crime, right, Chad. How you doing today, Chad?
Man, good morning. I took a little bit of time to reflect on some of the advice that we received from the first series going into the second series. Once again, I did look at it. I wanted to be surprised, shocked, but I did learn something. It's everybody agrees from the advice. You need to go. You need to be great. You need to be strong. You need to face your fears. Do not be afraid. Don't be discouraged. And just follow what you love and chase your passion. So I'm super excited for episode 2 of the best advice you ever received. Man, let's go.
No, and that's spot on, right? And so if you didn't get a chance to listen to part 1, please go back and listen to part 1, right? I mean, we dropped tons of information in part 1, right? You do not want to miss out on that. There could be something in there that could change your life, right? So please go back and listen to that. I promised y'all at the end of this one, Chad and I would both give you what we believe the best advice we ever received was. This was really difficult, right? I got to be honest with you. I was torn from it, but at the end of this, when we're all finished up, man, we will cap off with what we believe is our best advice. And even if we echo something that we've already heard, right, we'll go from there. But without further ado, man, we don't want to keep y'all waiting. Chad, I'm gonna roll it over to you to go ahead and kick off that first one, brother.
Man, first one, Brad Klein. I love that the name is easier this time. Whatever it is you do for a career will one day come to an end. Be sure to genuinely let people you care about know what they mean to you now and also them. Otherwise, chances are high they won't be there when the day to move on from your career comes. Be a leader who has emotions, but don't be an emotional leader. That was a lot.
Yeah, that was, man. So appreciate it, Brad, man, for dropping that nugget, man. I'm gonna go to the first thing he said, and look, this is spot on, right? Especially with us, right? And I know it's the same on the civilian side, but in the military side, when you go to retirements, man, they don't talk about how many emails you answered, how many sorties you got flying in the air. They don't talk about how many tasks you completed. What they talk about are the relationships that you had, the people's whose lives you touched, or the people who's touched your life, right? Relationships are huge, and they will be long lasting, far after we take this uniform off.
I like it.
We're going to roll into Andrew Stevens. Andrew Stevens says, if you want something bad enough, fight for it. If you get told no, ask why. Keep asking why until you finally get results.
Man, I think this one's easy, and I hear everyone echo this. Why? You have to tell somebody why they can't do something. You have to tell somebody why this isn't feasible. Because in my eyes, we're not in a game of impossible. We all know possible exists. That's a good one. I like it.
Yeah, spot on, brother.
Cindy Brothers, if you never ask for what you want or need, the answer will always be no.
True statement, right? True statement. This falls in line with the premise of make them tell you no, right? This goes back to, I think it was Wayne Gretzky who said, I missed 100% of the shots I never took. Right? Look, shoot your shot. Well, ain't that what you like to say? Shoot your shot. Right?
Shoot your shot.
If you don't, if you want to see if something's going to work or not, it sure the hell ain't going to work by you sitting back, sitting on your butt and waiting for opportunities to drop in your lap. Life don't work that way. Shoot your shot.
Nice. Exactly. April Rain, start saving for retirement when you are 18.
What you think about that, man? You a hell of a lot younger than I am.
Man, I mean, I wish I would have started saving at 18. That's probably smart. But I'll give you a quick snippet. You know, if you're in the military, you know, invest in TSP. Look at some of the resources that we offer. I'm not gonna advocate for different companies, but I think we do have a lot of relationships with different agencies like First Command and other different things. That, you know, you can put a little money aside. Sidebar, different types of life insurances, and you know, maybe it's real estate property. Have something where you can grab money from yourself and not the banks and different things like that. And, you know, just be prepared for you or your family if something happens.
And that's just it, right? It's just it's preparing for the future. It's setting yourself up. One of the things that I like about this is we're giving our experiences, and I love the fact that you said, yeah, I wish I would have started saving when I was 18. The whole point of passing this advice on is that people learn from others' mistakes. If you got a whole bunch of people telling you they wish they would have started invested earlier, chances are you might want to look into it. Exactly. So we're going to roll on with Tess Gooding. Tess Gooding says, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Nah, we talked about that in the first series, man. You know, to be successful, you do have to plan. You know, I think you're able to kind of get some of the kinks out when you're planning, and you soon realize that, you know what, hey, this may not work, and we got to go in a different direction. Or you realize, hey, maybe I need a couple more people in different areas of expertise to be able to make that happen. So you always got to plan.
Yep. Spot on, brother.
Katie, grab him. I'm going to go with grab him. Or grab him. I'm not sure. I'm sorry if I jacked that up.
Nah, so Katie's a good one, man. She's actually she's a command chief, man. She's out there doing phenomenal things for our airmen, man.
All right, I apologize if I jacked that up, Chief. Your feelings are your responsibility. Man, I love that.
That's, you know, so when I look at that one, like that goes back to a little bit what we discussed yesterday. Something we've actually been talking about a lot lately is you can't control external. Man, you can only control internal. I can't control what happens to me. I can only control what happens out of me, right? My response to that. And your feelings are your responsibility. And that's tough. That's tough at times, man, because people will piss you off. They'll upset you. They'll hurt you. You know, some people will even try to break you. But you got to understand that your feelings are your responsibility. And one of the things we tell folks all the time, man, you got to be happy on purpose. You got to wake up and purposely be happy. So, man, Katie, man, thank you for dropping that. I absolutely love that. We're going to roll on to James T. Yates. James T. Yates said, when someone does something stupid and needs to be corrected, you don't react, you respond.
Nah, man, I like that. And I think what the one thing that I like is you know, you respond. And it's no different when you get an argument. You know, me reacting to somebody in an argument is not going to solve the problem. But understanding why they did something stupid and then responding, that will get you to the ultimate thing that we're always looking to do when people do stupid things, a solution.
But when I see react and respond, what I see is, you know, the respond filters in that critical thinking aspect. You are thinking it through before just reacting. React is emotional. Respond is kind of reflective. Love it.
Tony Renner, if you act like you know everything, then you can't learn anything.
Look, I'm going to be honest with you, man. This is one of my pet peeves. And it's not only one of my pet peeves with people, it's particularly one of my pet peeves with leaders. I cannot stand leaders that walk around here like they shit don't stink. I cannot stand people who walk around here and act like they already know anything. Look, you not fooling nobody. Everybody on the face of the earth knows you don't know everything. Right? So when you start thinking that you do, man, you stop growing. And when you stop growing, you stop having the ability to effectively lead your folks, man. We talk about it all the time. Hashtag lifelong learners. Like that's just what we are. Because I don't know everything. And I need help learning.
No, exactly.
All right, David Shea, man. David Shea said, as I left BMT, my TI told me, never accept mediocrity.
Man, this is easy for me. You can be as great as you want to be. Just got to put in the work. That's it.
Dude, I really like this one, man. This one kind of touched a chord with me because I think in our society as a whole, man, you don't even got to look at the military or the Air Force. Our society as a whole, mediocrity or being average has become the norm. So if you want to be great, you just got to put in a little bit of effort and do something that a lot of other people are not willing to do, which is be consistent.
Exactly. Maritza Bathia. Successful people take risks.
Yeah, no, this goes back to the old adage, like, you will not grow if you constantly sit in your bubble inside your comfort zone. Right, I get it. It's scary to get out there and take risks. I get it. You run the risk, if you will, of being punched in the nose from time to time. But a life well lived is stepping outside of that comfort zone and accepting risk from time to time.
No, exactly. We talked about it in the first series. You got to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Dude, I love the.
Right.
Yeah, I get to read this. Sorry, you read the last one. I cannot pass up on the opportunity to read this name. Right? JP, the one and only. Dude, I really like that name, man. That's a dope name. If it seems too good to be true, it likely is. Life isn't fair. Understand it, accept it, and learn how to live with those terms. What you think?
Man, I like it. And learn how to live with those terms is understanding that, look, life isn't going to be fair. You are going to get knocked down. You are going to work for bad leadership. You are going to get the bad end of the stick. But it's what you do after. We say it all the time. It's what you get knocked down. It's what you do to get back up. And that's what I like. But at the end of the day, you do gotta have a positive mindset. I think if you understand things aren't always as good as you want it to be, it's still good. No matter what, it could be as bad. There's still some good, and that's what you need to focus on.
Do you think that people should be able to use that and know that there's things to work towards, like goals to set?
Oh no, 100%. I mean, we could use code, for example, scheduling, schedule getting busy and that's not being able to do certain things. So it delayed things a couple weeks, or having audio issues, or having Wi-Fi issues, and not figuring out cameras and mics. And, the list goes on. You're always going to have something. But when in doubt, man, go to plan B, plan C, plan D. Like, there's too many ways to get things done. So don't let the first thing knock you down. Dalton Granger. Nobody cares about your career more than you.
So
I'm on the fence on this one, so I'm curious to see what you say.
All right. So this is one of those polarizing ones, right, that you hear, and as a young troop, you're like, yeah. As a leader, you're like, no, right? But if I'm being 100% real with you, I agree with this. And let me tell you why. Nobody cares about your career more than you. Not as much, not as that, but more. And I'm going to tell you why. I care about my airmen's careers to the death of me, right? Like, dude, I genuinely care about their careers. But this goes back to the there's only so much people can give type things. So let's be honest. I'm worried about my career, right? I have 174 people that I'm in charge of leading. Are all 174 of them getting 100% of me? No, it's a physical impossibility. I just do not have that kind of time in the day. I try to give them my best, my all. I'm always there for them. If they need me, I'll stop everything I'm doing. However, when it comes down to it, I don't know if I can disagree with this, right? It doesn't mean that they don't care about your career, but when you really boil it down, let's be real. Even if I'm looking at myself, there isn't a person out here, and I love my mentors. Dude, Chad, I love you. But I'm going to be honest with you. I can guarantee you right now, you don't care about my career more than I do.
I like that. That was good stuff.
All right, so we got Emily Hable. Emily Hable says, if you have rules but don't enforce rules, then you don't have rules. She also said, dude, I actually like that one, man. And you see who that came from, right? So when you start talking about it, I want you to quote who that came from, man, because these are wise people out there. And she also says, lift with your airman.
No, man, I love both. The first point is tricky. If you have rules but don't enforce the rules, you don't have rules. Nah, man, I love that, and I think it's spot on. I don't look at it as rules. I kind of look at it as guidelines. I think rules puts people in boxes. And when you have rules, then somebody can break them. But if I have guidelines aren't laws. You can break guidelines, and that can always get you back within those lines. But nah, I think Dad is a smart man. And live with the airman, man. That's easy, man. Um, it goes back to doing. I'm not gonna do anything that I wouldn't tell my airman to do. So if I'm doing it with them, like, hey, I'm putting your name up for this. But guess what? My name is on that list too. It gives them no reason to sit here and say, man, like, oh, like he gets to sit over here and do all this while I'm doing this over here. Like, nah, like I could be tapped and picked just like you.
Yep.
So I like it. Go
Yep.
Dad. Joshua Hilton, take cover, return, well aimed fire.
So I actually like this one, man, because it kind of it alludes to our warrior type mindsets, right? Because we can use this one on the battlefield and we can use this one in the back office, right? So take cover. When I look at that, I look at planning, I look at preparing, I look at protecting yourself, I look at trying to minimize risk, I look at stuff like that, and returned well aimed fire. Now that we have planned, now that we know what our target or our goals are, man, we are focused and we are returning that well aimed fire. I really like this one because it splits the corner of, battlefield and back office. All right, we got Colton James. Colton James says, I can't wait to see how you spin this one. Check for TP before you poop.
Oh man, defend your life. hey, hey, security forces, man. One thing as a defender, you learn you always gotta have somebody's back. And I'm gonna tell you now, when it comes to TP and pooping, ain't nobody got your back like TP.
Facts. Facts. Oh, good luck with this one.
Stone Croc.
I'll take
That's
it.
probably completely wrong. If it was easy for everyone, if it was easy, everyone would do it. And you either make excuses or make it happen. Never both.
So we can break this down into two parts, right? If it was easy, everyone would do it, right? We could say that about success. If success was easy, everyone would be successful. 100% agree. Don't even know if I need to go any deeper into that. And then I love the second part of this though. You can make excuses or you can make it happen, but neither both, right? And that's what we see people do. People will make excuses and then get mad at the outcomes. You can't have both. You either make excuses or you make shit happen, right? But you can never have both. Choose wisely. All right, Jared Moorhead. Jared Moorhead drops, if you are ever in a position of power, don't hold anyone back.
Oh man, it's easy for me. You gotta treat your people like they're a herd of horses. You gotta let them run wild.
True.
That's the only thing. That's the only way we're gonna get things to happen. Whether when you think about innovation and all these great ideas and Spark Tank and all these different Spark Tank cells around the airport, and any other branch that we think of, things don't happen when I'm trying to keep everybody the herd together. I gotta let them run wild. It's the only way we're gonna advance in the future.
Dude, yeah, I love it. Love it.
Chris Borland. This has continued to drive me towards my post-military goals. I wish I knew what it was though.
Yeah, what happened, Chris? Dang. All right. Well, maybe we'll go back and we'll edit this and try to add it in. But it looks like some of his quote got cut off there. All right, just keep rolling. Roll to the next one.
I'm sorry. Hold
But,
on.
but
I would have been happy with that. That would have been funny.
but like here's the thing, right? So we told you from the beginning when we started this whole episode that we didn't pre-read these, right? We wanted to give you raw and uncut reactions, and this is what happens, right? Damn, my bad, Chris. I bet there was some good knowledge in there somewhere. Dang it.
Jacob Holmes, how did you tell me one time everyone F's up? Just don't F the same thing up twice. And that got me out of a bad situation I was in, and it has stuck with me ever since. 5 years later, I still stick to that motto.
Dude, and this is one of those things, right? They say, a mistake made twice isn't a mistake any longer. Right? And I kind of look at that now. This doesn't mean you can only fail once. This doesn't mean that. But if you continually repeat the same mistake over and over again, you're not learning. Right? It's kind of like traveling down a road. If I'm walking down the street and I fall into a pothole and I realize that pothole's there and I'm walking down that same street the very next day and I fall in that same damn pothole, then I didn't learn. All it would have taken was a little step to the right. That's it. Step to the right, avoid the pothole. Right? Never make the same mistake twice. All right.
I like this next one.
Yeah, Jana S. Weasley. My mama said, it's okay to eat shit, but don't kiss ass. Dude. Mama smart.
Mama is smart. Look, I'm trying. In my mind, like, how do we spend it? Nah, man. Look, man. It's okay to eat shit. Don't kiss ass. That's not gonna get you nowhere. I don't care who you are. Anybody will always see the genuineness of people around them and why they're doing things. So I don't know where it's okay to eat shit. That might be in Louisiana. I don't know if we're doing that up here, but don't kiss ass. It don't get you nowhere.
Look, the only way I can equate that to, and obviously it's a metaphor, right? But sometimes life's gonna hand you a bad hand, right? You gotta play that bad hand. Like that's how I kind of equate to that, right? Like you gotta play the hand you're dealt, and sometimes that hand's shit, right? But you gotta play it.
Sometimes you gotta eat it.
Sometimes you gotta eat it. I like that one though.
I like it. All right, Neil Lynn, don't take advice from people you don't know or don't respect. Ooh.
Man, so this goes back. I'm serious, man. So this one's tough for me, right? Because I always believe that even in feedback you don't agree with, there's still good nuggets in there that if you pay attention to and really get down, you can learn and grow from. So I do believe that all feedback is good feedback, even if it comes from the sender from a bad place. But this reminds me a lot of the never take criticism from somebody you wouldn't take advice from. And I think what that does is it helps people get into the mindset of, don't get all up in your feelings when you're chasing your dreams and somebody tries to poo-poo on them, right? Especially those people that are sitting on the sidelines that aren't traveling your path, don't know what you're trying to do, and don't do all that. So I look at it as kind of like that. Like this is a tough one for me. Feedback, I think, is good. All feedback is good. However, right? Do not allow negative feedback or criticism from people that aren't traveling your path hold you back. Alex Hembry. Don't stop pursuing your goals just because the people around you stop pursuing theirs. If you're not happy with where you are, change it. One step at a time.
We say that all the time, man. All you got to do is put one foot forward. That's it. It doesn't matter how far that foot goes. It could be a couple inches, it could be a half a foot. Just keep moving forward. There's gonna be times where you hit speed zones of 35, and sometimes you're on the highway hitting 72.
Yeah, facts.
Austin Parent. Learn when and how to say no?
One of the most difficult things I had to learn as a leader, as I was progressing in my career, was learning how to say no. Learning that time overall is very valuable, and I can't take on every single thing that's been brought to me. I will say that I have gotten better at not saying no, but saying yes and delegating. Yes and delegating, right? I don't have to take everything on. Like my plate is cannot runneth over, and I can't afford to let things fail. But I can make sure that people still get what they need by entrusting other people to accomplish it for them, right? But yeah, you've got to learn to say no to some things, man, because saying yes to everything, you're almost saying no to everything because you can't do everything all at once. Tony N. Grant, you ain't on the block no more. You can't trust everyone.
I love it. You ain't on the block no more.
You ain't on the block no more.
So, I would love to think, when we put this uniform on, that we can trust everybody. But, trust is something that has to be built. So, you get these different analogies and perspectives of people say, hey, trust has to be built. Hey, I give all of my trust to somebody until I have to take it back. And to be honest, when I look at trust, I look at action. So, what has this person shown me? That determines how much trust I can give them. It goes back to the actions and the dependability.
Yep.
Those two things, I think, go hand in hand building that trust.
Yep.
Brett Jones, you can shear a sheep many times, but you can only skin it once.
So I'm gonna tell you this right now, Brett Jones, I'm stealing this. Like I'll air quote the mess out of you when I say it to folks, but I love this one, man. Yeah, Brett Jones. Dude, I love this. You can shear a sheep many times, but you can only skin it once, man. This goes back to, let's say, reprimanding people, right? You can correct people. There's a difference between correction and criticism, right? There's a difference between all of those certain things, but I can correct somebody. I can give somebody feedback. I can do all that. Like I can shear all I want, right? And they'll continue to keep growing. But if I skin that person, right? If I break their trust, if I disrespect them, if I show them they're not valuable, if I dishonor their loyalty, if I do any of those things and skin, man, that don't ever come back, right? So I think this is absolutely 100%. Like I really like this metaphor, man. I think it kind of encapsulates what we see happen to some folks, right? And I'm gonna give you a quick story, and this is the longest story I'm gonna give you this whole time, right? Because I know we got a lot to get through. I remember being a young airman, and I had a buddy of mine, right? We were young airmen together. And this young airman would come in, man. He'd be always the first one there. He'd always be the last one leaving. He always did all this extra stuff. He was the epitome of an airman. Like, I looked at him and, dude, I said, I want to be an airman like you one day. One day, this airman came in about 10 minutes late, and our flight chief ripped his ass. I mean, dude, ripped him from head to toe in front of everyone. Everyone. It was completely uncalled for. It was completely unprofessional. He called him names that no airman should have ever been called. Now, let me ask you this. You think that airman ever showed up early again? You think that airman ever stayed late again? So instead of shearing him, he skinned him. And he ruined that airman. I'm going to tell you what, that airman now is a civilian on the outside. Yep. So we got...
and this goes into our next great one.
Yeah, dude, that's it. Like, that could have been it. And Letty Harris. And Letty Harris says, never miss an opportunity to say thank you.
There's no need to elaborate there.
Nah.
When somebody does something good, say thank you.
Yep. You stay getting stuck with the hard names, man. I'm sorry, dude. I promise I ain't playing this.
Alex Napier. Control what you can control. There is no sense in worrying or stressing over things you cannot control.
It's funny to me how much advice kind of ties back to the same thing, and it's focus on what you can control, not on what you can't control, right? Life happens for you, not to you type deal, right? It goes back to, and I probably said it 5 times responding to stuff just like this. You can't control what happens, only how you respond to what happens. Rena Abu, be teachable. You aren't always right.
No, exactly. It goes back to there's we can teach things 100 different ways. So just because you know one way doesn't mean it's the right way. It's just the way you learn. So be open minded. Always be open minded to do things differently, and then decide what works for you. Doesn't mean it's the best. I'm about to give my best advice now, but I really was. But it's something we have to remember is there is no right or wrong. There's just the way that works for you.
Yep.
That's it. Stephanie McGirl. Keep your ego in check and stay accountable for your actions. Hashtag emoji smiley face.
Smiley face. Right? Love this, man. So there is a fine line between competence and arrogance. Right? And I implore people. I think competence is something that a lot of people lack, man. And one of the things I'm going to start focus on for my voice, right? We talked about finding three main pillars for our voice. One of those things I think is going to be confidence because I think a lot of people lack it. What you see, however, is a lot of individuals crossing that line over into arrogance and allowing their ego to make decisions for them. There is no quicker way to fall on your face than to start letting your ego make decisions. So understand there's a fine line and do not cross it. All right, I got Mindy Geiger Johnson. Right? As a supervisor, you deserve what you tolerate.
Oof. I agree with it. For me, my toleration is unlimited. I do agree with it, but I also agree that my tolerance is unlimited because as an airman, I understand we all come in at different levels. I understand that I'm gonna have the BMT honor graduate, tech school honor graduate, BTZ winner type airman that's gonna come in and kill it and be able to do my job in 6 months. And I also understand that I'm gonna have an airman that's gonna come in that it may take them 24 months just to get their CDCs done and learn their job. And you know what? That is okay. I hate when it's timeline and putting people in that box. I don't care if it takes you. I don't care if I got to do an extension to get you 6 to 12 extra months and stand in front of the command chief or the wing commander or squadron leadership to explain why they're saying it. He just don't get it as fast as everybody else, and that's okay.
Yep.
Doesn't degrade what type of airman he's going to be.
Yep.
Soapbox over.
Yep. Good. Love it.
Oh, I like this one. Jessica Roper. The work will always still be there tomorrow.
Go home. Right? Go home. So one of the things that I had to learn, I had to teach my commander. I learned this a few years ago, right? It's funny to me that when commanders and chiefs and flight chiefs and all this, when they stay late, guess what you're encouraging your folks to do? Stay late, right? So here's the deal. You have glass balls, rubber balls, and wooden balls, right? Those are work, right? Glass, you can't let those drop. Rubber, you can let them drop. They'll bounce back up, right? Wooden balls, they'll drop. You may dent them a little bit, but they're not going to shatter. Don't let glass balls drop. Most of the things we deal with on a day-to-day basis are those rubber balls, those emails and those taskers and all that. Dude, that stuff will be here tomorrow. You got stuff to do at home. You got once-in-a-lifetime things to do with your kids. Dude, go home and do it. Go home and do it.
I'm still in that air quote.
Yep, air quote. Tina Rivera.
Glass balls, rubber balls.
Don't forget your wooden ones. All right, so what's this said? Tina Rivera once learned to go around the parked cars. Let me see how you spin this one.
So, man, it's real easy. Go around cars in the parking lot. Completely bypass the parking lot. The way I'm getting this is cars are obstacles.
Facts.
So I can completely, and this goes back to what everybody's been talking about, is plan for failure. I plan for obstacles, right? So if I know there's 50 cars in that parking lot, I'm not gonna do this little, I can slide through here. Oh, I'm a little too thick to go through this one. I'm gonna take the walkway that's right next to the parking lot and I'm gonna wave to them.
Yeah.
Hey, bye. See obstacles. Mikel Quinn. It's only a failure if you didn't learn anything.
So it's funny, man, and this goes back, and I have no idea who originated this quote, but it goes along the lines of, and it says, "Look, I never fail. I never fail. I either succeed or I learn." Right, and that I think embodies what Quinn is trying to say here. Right, it's not a failure if you don't learn. I mean, it's not a failure if you learn something, but it will be a failure if you do not learn anything.
Rhonda Greenwich. Stop focusing on who didn't show up and focus on the ones who did. Sounds familiar, but I like it.
There's a wise man who said that. No, Rhonda used to. We used to work together before she PCS'd, and I remember exactly when I told her this. Right, it was actually at her going away, and she had a ton of people at her going away. Ton of people. Like, dude, she sorely missed, man. Rhonda, if you listen to this, man, I love you and I miss you. But there was one or two people who didn't. Right, and obviously we're human beings, and those things are going to sting a little bit. And I remember her getting a little upset about it. And it was simple for me, man. Don't focus on who isn't here. Focus on who is. Right? It's really easy for us to fall into that trap because we're conditioned to be negative, right? And to focus on the negative things. But when you focus on the negative things, you're taking away from the positive ones that are there, right? And if she would have continued to focus on who wasn't there, she would have stole from the ones that were there, right? So yeah, that was a really good moment between me and her, man. And I'm really humbled that she brought that back up.
I like it. John Lundy.
John
You're
Lundy.
not going to.
No, my bad. Go ahead, brother.
You're not. No, you're good. If you are not going to stress out about this 2 months from now, why let it stress you out right now?
He ain't look. Goes back to that, dude. We talked about it yesterday in the live that we did. Right. This is that critical thinking, man. Take a step back. Look at it from a 30,000-foot view and ask yourself, if this isn't going to matter 2 months from now, why am I pulling my hair out now? Why am I letting this stress me out now? Like, it's not as big as it may seem in this present moment. And sometimes, we tell people all the time, be in the moment, be in the moment. Sometimes we allow that moment to get bigger than what it should. Take it for what it is. If it ain't going to matter 2 months from now, don't let it stress you. Dave Thomas, your job is to be in the Air Force. Right now, they want you to do this AFSC. But that may change, and that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Nah, man. And you know what? We talk about this all the time, and this has become one of my messages. I'm gonna still Chief Wright. We talk about hybrid airmen, but I tell my team all the time, look, there is no job that I'm not willing to do. Whether it's going to the commissary and working for DECA and doing bagging groceries and grabbing carts, to going to medical and helping them out, and maybe it's checking IDs and helping them out with admin stuff, going to command posts and running checklists because I'm a defender and I can run a checklist. It does not matter what I do. I'm still going to get paid the same.
Yep.
So it's okay to do these other odd-end jobs, and you need it. I don't care what anybody says. If I do 3 or 4 other jobs outside of what I do on my day-to-day, when I come back, I'm going to be better at it because now I see how other people do things, and you're always going to be able to bring that back into your wheelhouse.
Oh, facts.
Marie Bailey, stop making excuses.
Like that, to the point, man. 3 words. Stop making excuses. We just talked about it a few advices ago, right? You can have excuses or results, but you can't have both, right? So if you want results, stop making excuses.
Look, I'm all for you complaining about something like this sucks, but eventually you gotta zip it up and just get it done.
You gotta roll, brother. Gotta roll.
But Bernard Moss, there are 2 names on your uniform. I love this one. This makes me think of Chief Sparks. I gotta start it back over.
Yeah.
We always talked about this.
Yep.
I wonder if he knows her. There are 2 names on your uniform: family name and U.S. Air Force. After 4 to 30 years, U.S. Air Force is going to leave your chest. Take care of your family first. the ones that will be with you for life.
So this to me is easy, man. Like, and I know there's not a lot of well, I think there's more of it now, right? I think we're starting to embrace this kind of mindset more in the Air Force as a whole, right? But the core value is service before self. Self. It's not service before family, right? And you got to understand that we are all going to take this uniform off one day or another. Do not what would you say yesterday? Don't run out of family before you run out of career, right? Not that I do that to me is spot on, man, and that needs to hit people all up in the feelers. Y'all need to understand that.
And I think it comes down to this is that's why it's so important. This would be another soapbox. I'm sorry. It's so important to involve your family when you can. Like I love it when my wife goes to ALS graduations and ceremonies because now I get to spend and share these moments and we're together. So now not only do I get to be Air Force, but I get to be family at the same time. So involve your family when you can. That's huge. Because there's gonna be times when you can't.
Yep.
So you have to take advantage of the times that you can.
And that's why I always champion the mindset shift of work life balance to work life integration. You have got to figure out how to integrate the two together wherever you can. Luke Sager says, back to it again. Look, here it is. You can only control what you can control.
Nah, that's easy. I don't need to echo that one again.
Yep.
Like, look, nobody jumps in your wheelhouse and grabs the joystick.
That's
you
it.
Control that. Ashley Jensen, you don't have to go fast. You just have to keep going. This was in referencing to running, but I've used it now with almost everything.
Look, baby steps are better than no steps, right? We always talked about it. There are going to be times when you don't feel like it. There's going to be times, so I think we got the advice yesterday. Always give your absolute best, even when your absolute best can only be 50%, right? Small steps are better than no steps, but you must keep moving forward. All right, Heather Herbert. Yeah, Heather Herbert's talking about never burn bridges, right? The second is to always keep your options open because there's nothing more freeing than being able to change your mind.
Yeah, man, this is a good one, man. I'm a firm believer in never burning bridges. I call it, I learned from Chief Eisen a long time ago, silent mentor. There's no need to burn bridges. I'm always going to need somebody. It's facts. I don't care. We have built an organization where every brick relies on each other for that stability to keep that wall up. So if I don't like the way something's done or how somebody is, that's okay. Because guess what? If I go back to emotional intelligence and I understand how they operate, I understand that maybe they just haven't had the opportunities and the leaders that I've had or the people around them that have, is I can be that opportunity. I can be that leader to silently mentor them. Because I can't say, hey, you suck, I'm going to mentor you. No, when they do something great, man, like, hey, man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
When they do something I don't like, hey, have you tried it this way? You build them up.
Love it, man.
It's mind trick. Got to change the mindset. All right, man. Kevin Dilly.
Dilly.
Said to me, boy, you are on the wrong track. The secret of life is there ain't no secret. And you don't get your money back because the secret of life is getting up early. The secret of life is staying up late. The secret of life is try not to hurry, but don't wait. Don't wait. Sounds like a song, but shout out to Sam.
Yeah, right. So Kevin dropped this, right, and it's either a song lyric, it's a quote, it's something that somebody derived one time, and how I look at this is like, dude, there ain't no secret to this, right? It's a balance, right? It talks about it's getting up late, getting up early, staying up late, trying not to hurry, but don't wait, right? There's a balance to everything, and everybody's balance, everybody's center line, everybody's piece is different. You've got to find what works for you. You got to find what brings you fulfillment, because what brings me fulfillment ain't gonna bring you fulfillment, right? You got to search that out on your own. And look, there ain't no secret to life. So I like it, man. That's good.
I want to echo that real quick because I know most of our audience, obviously is military, and I love to take 30 seconds to really echo this. There is no secret to success in the Air Force. The Air Force, since you came in, you have gone to award ceremonies. You have looked at EPR. You have seen war packages. There's no secret. Be great at your job, right? Be involved in your unit. Now, sidebar: be involved in your group. Be involved in the wing, right? Help your organization be successful. Be a great teammate. Educate yourself. Not saying you have to go to school, but do something that is going to provide you educational value that you can bring back to your organization, that you can bring back to Big Air Force. I will tell you this: always believe, and this is Chief Biden, he said this perfectly. If the promotion rate is 7%, you should always think, man, I think I'm in the top 7%. Understanding that there may be 7% out there that are better than you, and that's okay. Maybe I fell to the 8%, but there's no secret to success. It's just being great at your job and doing what you love.
Facts. Preach. All right, so we got John M.H. John M.H. says a sailor never became great at sailing by sailing smooth seas.
And they also never came back either. It's true. You're not a great sailor if you go jump on a lake with no waves. So it goes back to for me. It goes back to taking risks.
Yep.
You have to be willing to jump into choppy waters. And as a leader, I have to put myself in situations that I'm not comfortable in. And maybe it's dealing with, maybe I'm not comfortable with relationships, but maybe it is taking that step instead of passing the rock and saying, hey, I'm going to help you out with your relationship issues. Here's what I have, knowing that it may suck, but also being transparent as a leader and saying, hey, this is not my wheelhouse. This is not something that I'm comfortable, but I want to give you my perspective.
Yep.
And then allowing them to give you that feedback back. Hey, somewhere down the line, hey, how was I in this situation? So you can be better.
Yep. Love it, man.
All right. Brian Granger. Never missed an opportunity to pee.
Yo, this had to be so. As soon as I saw that, man, I was like, "It's got to be a defender, right?" Because like, look, dude, take advantage, right? Never miss an opportunity to pee. So I look at this twofold, right? Number one is talks to planning, right? If you know you're getting ready to take a long trip, you might want to take this opportunity, right? This also reminds me of taking advantage when the opportunity presents itself, right? You don't know when you're going to get this opportunity again, right? So you may walk past this opportunity and then come back and guess what? Now the door's closed. So take advantage of the opportunities when they are there. So Brian, man, spot on, man. That was a really clever way to put that, man. So we got Wes Switzer says, when you come across something you don't know, find out the answer. You won't remember too later.
Yeah, when you don't know something, look it up.
Yep.
I think that's pretty easy. Patrick Sanchez, how do you shine?
So I think that, this advice probably came to him in the form of a question, right? So it's maybe one day somebody asked him, how do you shine? And I think this goes back to self-reflection, self-awareness, right? That you should be able to answer this question when asked to you. How do you shine? And your answer should kind of point you to what you feel your purpose is, what your passion is, what your job is, what your AFSC is, right? This is how I shine. Your answer should revolve back into, hey, I shine by being an airman, or hey, I shine by whatever it is, right? But you should be able to answer this, right? And maybe the best advice that he got was being asked this question and maybe he wasn't able to answer and it helped him find his purpose. Terry Glenn drops, so this one's a little tricky, man. He says, specifically for the guys out there who can't stop eyeballing girls. Remember, no matter how beautiful she is, somebody somewhere is sick and tired of her crap. How you gonna spin that one?
Yeah, that's a tough one. So, one, if you're a committed man, you shouldn't be eyeballing any woman. So
Facts.
let's throw that out there. Um, but no, I mean, uh, Terry, I'm gonna sit here. I'm gonna break this down. I'm gonna go ahead and direct this to both genders. We
So
all have crap,
yeah, so he
and we all
talked.
have
Yeah,
baggage.
yeah. So he talks about that. So I didn't continue reading right because it was kind of long, but he does mention, of course, these genders could be swapped, right? So he wasn't trying to just poke fun at men or women, right? So I give him that, right?
Yeah. So no, man, we all got baggage, and I think we all have a level of tolerance, which we talked about, whether it's in relationships, whether it's in the job. Again, for me, I still have that unlimited level of tolerance because it all goes back to understanding who you're with, who you're working with, and being able to direct that crap, Terry. If I can direct that right and say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and put that crap over here. I'm gonna put that over here, and I'm gonna put that over here. Right now it's out of the way. And guess what? Now I gotta clean it up.
Yep, love it.
Devin Chidester. There are two ways to exert strength: pushing down or pulling up.
So I do that. So I like this one, man. This reminded me of something that I heard Tony Robbins once say. Right. So pushing and or pulling. Right. So either one is still better than being stagnant. However, when you keep pushing and you keep pushing and you keep pushing, you are eventually going to get tired, right? You are eventually going to get weak. However, when you have something that's pulling you and pulling you to, like if you have that passion, right, that just keeps pulling you to your goals, it's a hell of a lot easier being pulled than it is to push, right? So I really like this, right? There's a few different ways you can look at it, but just initially off the top, that's what came to me, and this actually came from. It looks like this quote's from Booker T. Washington. So nicely done, Devin. Rory Fields. Rory Fields says, "You aren't that important. The mission was done long before you got here, and will be done long after you leave. Make sure you take care of yourself and others because that's what matters."
No, and I think it goes back to I always say this: take care of your people, and the people will take care of the mission. If you drop out tomorrow, I promise you somebody's gonna fill that spot. And what I mean by that is there is no there's no task that's so important that you can't pass off. You have to trust your people to be able to get things done. Just like Chief said, you don't have to do everything. Yes, delegate. Yes, delegate. Don't fill your plate up so much that you're almost to a point where you're drowning. Like, trust your people to get things done. And this is something that I battled with for a long time. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do X, Y, Z because I don't know if this person is gonna drop the ball or do this. That's not what leadership is. Leadership is putting people in the right position to be successful, whether you think they're gonna get it done or not. And that's why we're here to guide them, lift them, right? Some of that best advice, lift with your airmen. Because eventually they learn it, they grasp it, and then they'll be doing what you're doing somewhere down the line.
Yep.
All right, Erica Liz. Run out of career before you run out of family. So,
So
and I dropped that yesterday.
yeah, so I mean, dude, we've heard this two or three times throughout this. So what this leads me to believe is that some of the folks that are dropping this knowledge are getting this wisdom from folks that maybe struggled with this, man. So I love the fact that what you're seeing right now is people passing on the information, the good advice that they received, and that's exactly what this is about, man. Spot on. All right, so we got I'm gonna say Melissa, I'm sorry, right? Narcisse says, "Not everyone will like you, Lisa." She said, "My mom was right."
Fact. Not everyone will like you, and that's okay. But at the end of the day, we all still wear this uniform, just like what we read a little bit ago, right? We all have Air Force on our chest. So I don't care if you don't like me. We still have to get the mission done. We still have to be there for our brothers and sisters. Because at the end of the day, we are family, and that's what matters. So you have to remember that. I do not care if you do not like me because I am who I am. I can't change the roots of me. but we can still work together. Christopher Little. Mm, so again, we've heard this a couple times as well. Bloom where you are planted.
And that's just it, right? So this reminds me. So I know we talked about it a little bit yesterday. So I'll try to spin it a different angle today. I always love the metaphor, the analogy of oh, the grass is always greener on the other side. No, the grass is greener where you water it. Period. Bloom where you are planted. We don't get to select, especially being Air Force, especially being military, man. We don't get to select a lot of the environments we are planted in. It's still up to you whether or not to bloom, and you have that control. So spot on, Christopher. All right, so I got Daniel Roy McCoy. Fire cleanses all things.
That's a different way to spin it because I would have said water.
Maybe this is coming from one of our fire department folks, man. I don't know. Like,
No, but if I look at that from an analogy standpoint, because I love analogies, is when if I see a house, right, and you see a house fire, take the house down, right? There could have been a lot of bad in that house. That fire gives it a chance to rebuild, right? I get a chance to have a clean slate and build a foundation in a house that I really enjoy. So I look at this as in, hey, you know what? My team's not operating on a level. There's a lot of disconnects, right? I bring them in. We figure out what's going on. Hey, where's the disconnect? What's going on? And we kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of it. But you kind of hash it out, right? And you get back down to ground level. You build that foundation. So I do believe that. Fire does cleanse everything. It's really just communicating, being transparent, and understanding that sometimes we might have built a skyscraper, and sometimes you may have to put a fire on it, knock it down, and start back over.
Yep, like it.
Darren Robinson. No one really knows what they are doing. Question everything.
So this, I'm gonna tell you, like, spot on, right? We talked about this a little bit earlier, man. There isn't a single person out here that has every single answer, right? And when I read question everything, this goes back to like trying to figure out the why, right? Asking these questions, asking these thought-provoking questions so I can get closer to the why. Because when you start teaching people the why we do things, that's when you get that buy-in. That's when you get people that are truly committed because they understand the second, third order effects. They understand why we do certain things, right? So yeah, question everything, right? Don't follow blindly, right? If you have a question, man, raise your hand, ask a question. Good leaders, good wingmen, good just people in general will answer your questions. So spot on, Darren. That's perfect. Man, that looks like we're about ran out, man. That was a lot. That was a lot of good information.
That was.
Yeah. So before we get into telling you what what best advice we want to provide, I didn't say this at the beginning, so I want to say it now. If you continue to listen to this, obviously we butchered the mess out of some of these names. We greatly apologize, man. Like I promise you, it was not done intentionally, but some of y'all names are a little tricky, right? And you're dealing with two people that ain't on the brightest of sides. Let's be real. Right? But no, so if we did butcher your name, we completely apologize. But with that, man, before I close it up, Chad, what you got, man?
All right, man. So I wanted to kind of mesh three of some of the best things I've heard over the last 12 years of my military career advice. So I was trying to find some of the best ways to say it. So when something goes wrong in your life, just yell plot twist and move on. Life is a story. You need to make yours the best story. Live your life as an exclamation, not an explanation. Those are some of the three things that I kind of hold key to my heart. And if anybody knows me, I have an explanation mark on my arm for that reason. And I have one life on my arm for that reason. I don't have plot twists just somewhere tattooed in my body though. But it's some of the things I think about. Those are some of the best advice. I think they hold true meaning to what we do on a day-to-day basis. Life is a story. You need to make yours the best. You need to be an exclamation mark, not an explanation. And sometimes, man, it's just you need to have fun.
Yep.
Your plot twist, keep it moving.
Yep.
What you got?
All right. So again, kind of like you, right? It's hard to narrow it down. So I think I broke it down kind of to two. Um, I'm really big on, or I understand the weight that self doubt puts on a lot of people, right? So the first bit of advice is, man, nobody will ever believe in you if you don't believe in yourself, right? Self doubt, fear, and all these things hold so many people back from reaching their truest potentials, right? You have got to believe in yourself. It has to start within. And when it starts within and you start kind of exuding that, people will start then believing in you and hitching their wagons to you, right? But the internal belief starts within. So you got to believe in yourself first. The second one, and this one's really kind of my passion and where it's at, right, is leadership is simple, right? I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it's simple, but we complicate the hell out of it, right? We always want to do the next best thing and the greatest thing and what's the new trend and what's the new concept. Nah, man, leadership is simple, man. Break it down. Just care. Genuinely care about what you're doing and the people you are doing it with. If you can do those things, everything else is secondary. Your leadership will flourish if all you do is just care. So, leadership is simple, not easy, but we always overcomplicate it. So that's what I got. Chad, before I wrap it up, man, you got any closing comments, brother?
Man, I want to thank the 100+ people that took the time to share their thoughts, some of the advice that has gotten them through their journey and where they're going today. You guys have all been catalysts throughout our journey, and we appreciate that. And we get better every single day based on the advice and thoughts that you put out into our community every single day. And it's not just our community. We are one platform amongst many platforms that we are a part of. So we appreciate you. We thank you. And I hope you guys are learning right alongside us, because I am so much better reading these 100+ comments. I am a firm believer, do not recreate the wheel. The wheel's already been created. So, I'm going to air quote the heck out of some of these. I'm going to keep these. I'm going to keep this running list, because I know there's a brand new airman out there right now that has never gotten advice. I might hand that list off and say, here's 100. Find one for you.
Yeah. Love it, man. And that's spot on, right? And I won't go into kind of piggybacking off of what he said, but the one thing I do want to echo is, for everybody that engaged and contributed and all that, man, just we appreciate you. Like, sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, like, thank you so much for engaging and investing yourselves into others, man. That is spot on. As always, thank you so much for spending time with us today and allowing us to invest in your development. Until next time, continue being a catalyst, not only for yourself, but for all those around you. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon.